I was at the Ellis Unit in 2024, and I was scrolling through the Pando app that we have on our tablets, and I came across literally the last of the tabs that was on there, and it was this thing on this little circle that said More Than Redemption Church. So I clicked on there just out of curiosity, and I saw the key words for me was Presbyterian and Reformed, and nothing else on the tablet would ever say Presbyterian or Reformed. So I listened to Chandler on one of his first sermons on Genesis. And then I listened to their video that they made about what Hope Prison Ministries is about. And it just struck me that this is what the place that I was looking for. This had everything that I've been praying about for all these years, anticipating getting out. It had a church that I could be a part of that overlooked all the things that were my life before I became a believer in Christ. The services that they offer to people who have literally nothing, but I was just given the shirt off of somebody's back today, because that's the people that are dealt with at More Than Redemption and Hope Ministry, because that's what they give people as hope. I was woken up to tell me that I was on chain. I just was recently released from the Michaels Unit, like 3 hours ago. So I'm going over to the Michaels Unit, anticipating going to Huntsville at the Walls Unit, where I know that Chandler is waiting for me, and they tell me that I'm being released from the Michaels Unit. And I asked, I was like, well, does anybody know this besides me? And they're, well, we're going to release you from here. So I was like, okay. So I was like, well, that's cool, because, that means that Chandler's just waiting on the other side of that door. That wasn't what happened. Now they're putting me on a van saying I'm going to Huntsville. And now I'm on a van, shackled up, going to Huntsville. But I don't know that Chandler is on his way to the Michaels Unit to pick me up. So halfway to our trip to Huntsville, the van driver pulls over, gets on his radio, puts it in reverse, turns around and heads back to the Michaels Unit. And he's like, well, they're sending you back to Michaels. I'm like, why? They're like, well, they're releasing you from the Michaels Unit. And I asked the same question. I was like, well, does anybody know this? He's like, well, your family's waiting for you. So I was like, okay, let's do this. So I go through, and I literally am listening to my name, Collins, inmate Collins, on radios, majors, wardens are talking about this inmate that's there that needs to go. And I'm like, dude, I'm like famous today. And I'm being called all these different directions. And there's this one lady named Miss Hutchins. She's the releasing officer. And she keeps telling me, Collins, follow my voice. Just follow my voice. So I'm thinking about, the gospel. So follow the voice, because that's going to lead you to the way that you need to get out. And I get out the front door, and the first person I see is Chandler. And he was there just like he said he would be, in his silver car with the Hope Ministries on the side of it. And I felt just this sigh of relief in my body that after 12 years and all of the hassles that have been going on for the last 12 days, that was just relieved by the sight of this one word, hope. Well, probably right now I would be sitting in the Michaels trustee camp, which is like it's like limbo for people with certain charges to waiting for state-funded halfway houses. And people have been waiting there for months. And every single one of them have been waiting there for these halfway houses to open up, because they're only allowed a certain percentage of people with sex offenses. Maybe five people to every 50. And these halfway houses only hold maybe 35 people. So these people are just sitting there month after month. There's people that left my unit that I thought were at home. And I was like, what are you doing here? And it's like, it's been a year ago since you left. He's like, I've been waiting for a halfway house. These people, they have no hope. The hope is in the state, hopefully putting them somewhere, anywhere. But they're just sitting there. I know that they offer a lot in my growth towards a relationship with Christ. And that's what I want to submerge myself into. All the secondary things about, being out in the free world, those are all okay. But if I don't have that relationship with Christ, then I don't have anything. And I know that there are people at Hope Prison Ministry and More Than Redemption Church that are sold out to fellowshipping and discipling people that have, no real understanding of the gospel. But they give you that understanding of the gospel and know what it's like to be in the Lord. And that's what I want to focus on. I mean, I can get a job tomorrow if I could, but that wouldn't help me in eternity. I'm looking in the long term now. My whole life was short-term goals, but now I'm looking in the long term. I just turned 49 years old 2 days ago, and today, I'm sitting in a house in Fort Worth, Texas, with people that I've just met, that almost like an instant connection of people that are here from all walks of life and all backgrounds in these one houses to live and unify as a family. That's what I'm expecting from Hope Prison Ministries, to be part of a family. Why should somebody give to Hope Prison Ministry? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but the biggest reason is because it's something that they should do. They should give to Hope Prison Ministries because these people are doing things that nobody else wants to do. The money that people give to the ministry is given to a band of people who gotten together and helped the people who are unhelpable, who want the people who are unwanted. And it honestly makes the streets of these cities safer places, because people who are lost are in a place where they can be watched over, they can be counseled, they can all these things. It's not just giving a person a house. They give them more than a house. They give them, a relationship. They give them a family. Some of these people like me, they haven't had family in years, but automatically I'm in a family. They treat you like they've known you forever. If people want to help, they should help this ministry. Not because it's something that they to do because they feel like they should. It's because they need to. They need to help this ministry because it gives more than anything else with all the money that they have, which is probably, who knows, very little. They give it all away to the people who need it. Well, I wrote a letter to Chandler after I saw the video on Pando, and I introduced myself. But then I got contacted a couple months later by Christopher Wright. Christopher Wright, he began corresponding with me. He would send books. We would always be messaging back and forth with one another, and we got to know each other, even though we'd never met. It's like we'd known each other for all this time, and now after all this time, tomorrow he's going to come by, and I get to finally meet him, in person. But through his mentorship, to somebody he didn't know, he seemed to know everything that I needed to get me closer to the relationship and bring me farther into this ministry, because it's something, I don't know how to explain it. It's special whenever you have a person that's talking to you, not just sending you a canned letter that they send to everybody, but it's the personal relationships, and I emphasize the word personal, that people have in this ministry with those who are in prison, with those who are on the streets. You're not just a number, you're not just a head, you're a name, and you're more than a name, you're friends, your family. Those were the things that I get from him, and he would listen to me, and he would tell me how much he enjoyed, listening to me. I was like, I haven't heard that in a long time. So I get, a sense of wholeness, belonging, where in a world with people with certain backgrounds, you don't belong. But here, we all belong.